Hello, my name is Senti. Today I am joined by programmer 137 from SRC. He is a developer for TCP and a locomotive maker in Stormworks. Hello.
Hey, buddy.
So, today's a pretty big day in the Stormworks community, or I guess I could say Saturday will be a pretty big day. The Stormworks developers, Geometa, have announced the announcement for their next game. And this is peak marketing. I am reacting to an announcement of an announcement. 454SS has already done a video on this, kind of going over, and I think he's covered some great points, honestly. And I just want to talk a little bit about it itself. This is something we've been expecting for quite a while. The first mention of a new game was 3 years ago now. Yeah, over 3 years ago in February of 2023. They announced making a new game, and they directly called it like it's not going to be Stormworks 2.
Yeah, it's interesting. They said they've been developing it for over 5 years now, which is crazy to think about.
It is. I mean, games do take a long time to develop, of course. Stormworks was in development for 4 years before it got the closed beta release. The words from the devs. So our long-term strategy is a new game, and we have some very ambitious plans. Moving forward is important, so the new game won't be Stormworks 2, but it will be a design and vehicle building game, taking lessons from Stormworks and from what our players have told us. We are discussing a lot about player authorship, modding, gameplay, and purpose, and a lot of things never before done in a game. There's a lot to unpack just there.
Honestly, the part that excites me most is the modding. I can't wait to see what they do with that. Stormworks obviously isn't built great for the modding API, so it's kind of just slapped on there, but a game built with modding in the ground up would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the Stormworks and Carrier Command 2 engine, it's kind of had modding in the sense of modifying assets, and recently they added the component modding system. But as you said, that's just kind of thrown on top to interact with existing functions. The new game uses a brand new engine, and that means you can play a lot more with modding, much more deeply integrated into the game engine. The next time they mentioned Not Stormworks 2 was a couple of months later in July of 2023. They said game is still in early development, mostly ideas, prototypes, tests, designs, and discussions. Our new goal is to make an awesome new building game inspired by Stormworks and inspired by player creations, many other games, and our own new ideas. We plan to have fewer features but a higher quality with a greater level of finish.
Interesting. So it sounds to me like they're going to be focusing on one specific niche of vehicles, or maybe a couple around the same kind of mode of transportation, maybe, and then working really hard to polish that and make that a good experience.
It could be, yeah, that could be it. The point is that while we love Stormworks, there is no point in cloning our own game. Most of the features from Stormworks won't be in the new game, but that's okay, because it allows the new game to be its own thing and allows us to be creative and introduce new ideas. There are a lot of expectations around a Stormworks sequel. It is best that we focus those expectations on improving Stormworks itself.
Especially if since this was 3 years ago, we've had a lot of large and very good updates since 3 years ago. They've really been on a roll since about then, and there's a lot of quality of life updates. I mean, the modding update was in that time frame, wasn't it?
Both of them, yeah.
And then we had like the recent node stacking update was just a fantastic update all around.
Something we are very interested in for a new game is full modding support. We have been researching and developing some really cool technology that is aimed at a new approach to modding that gives full control and access to mod makers.
If they're coding in this in C++, I see them having generally two kind of opportunities for modding. The one would be having function hooks and a public C++ API, and then having mods be DLLs. And then the other one would be a Lua or embedded language, maybe like WebAssembly API.
I am kind of interested to see how their modding implementation is going to be, because that will kind of not, I don't think maybe make or break the game, but it'll be a lot of players from Stormworks will be like, okay, it doesn't have exactly what I want, but this modding seems pretty powerful. I might be able to add it in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even since the Stormworks modding update, we've seen some pretty incredible mods. And even before, honestly, like North Solar Overhaul is just an incredible mod.
For just editing the game files, yeah, it is incredible. There's a lot of great mods that exist in Stormworks already, so I'm excited to see what kind of mods will be possible in the new game. Any game that really has mods, you're going to find people getting creative with it to do amazing things.
Yeah,
Talking about it with players as Not Stormworks 2, and it's not. It really is not Stormworks. So it's a different game. It's not a sequel to Stormworks. It's not a solution to Stormworks problems. It's not like a remake of Stormworks. It's a different game.
And now, the most recent time that they've talked about their new game is today, the 23rd of February, where we have learned that the actual announcement is coming on Saturday, the 28th, and I think that is pretty exciting. There's a lot of people excited, there's a lot of people skeptical, there's a lot of people that have been skeptical of the devs really since Space. I don't know, call me a dev apologist, give them a chance.
I've always been hopeful. I feel like ever since the space launch, Geometa has really put some effort in and turned things around. With I don't think there's really been that bad of an update since Fluids and Gases and the Space DLC. Really,
So they say with this new game, the new game is a vehicle building survival game. The vehicle building is very different. It is more detailed, more involved, and better for smaller vehicles, while worse for huge ones.
that's something I'm interested to talk about. What kind of vehicles are they going to be making specifically? Or like, are you going to be able to make? Because like on the photo they have in the update, they have like a little Jeep-sized car thing,
Right, yeah.
and the block size looks to be extremely small, maybe 5 to 10 centimeters, I'd guess. Those pipes look pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, 454 pointed out a couple of things. He did a deep dive onto these screenshots, which I'll link his video below. But a couple of things 454 pointed out was the grass in the background of that Jeep screenshot, the what looks to be like equipment boxes in the back of the Jeep. That might be like he speculates that's how you could get like parts. You might have some sort of in-world building, a little bit like how Kerbal Space Program does it, where you can weld parts onto your rocket after you've spawned it. I've seen a couple of comments that just say it looks like a Brick Rigs demo.
Yeah, I can see the vehicle, how people would say the vehicle looks rigs-y. I'm also the other thing that'll probably make or break this game for me specifically will be the logic. Stormworks is a very powerful logic system, and it'd be really cool if they could bring that into the new game and possibly improve on it a little bit.
Yeah, programmable vehicles is Stormworks' creme de la creme. That is what makes Stormworks best in class. The terrain featured in the first screenshot almost looks procedurally generated to me. I would love if this was procedurally generated terrain with like some some predefined tiles around.
That would be a really cool system, honestly. That could make for some very interesting gameplay.
What else? So, what all do we know about this game? We know from the developers that it's a new game engine, that it's a new physics engine. They said in the Q&A last October that it uses the Jolt physics engine instead of the aging Bullet physics engine. Jolt and Bullet do have their pros and cons. One thing that I think vehicle builders like this will enjoy is multi-threading. As far as I know, this is the first vehicle builder to use Jolt, so we will see how the engine fares in that regard. If they've gotten through to nearing release, probably pretty well.
Yeah, I would assume that the physics engine is going to be pretty good, given the downfalls of Stormworks in the land vehicles regard, and they like something like a submarine or a train doesn't really perform very well. And I think the limited scope of the vehicles you'll be able to build will probably help a lot with that.
I think so, yeah. If you're able to more tune your physics, like Beam and G performs excellent, spectacular with cars and trucks. Not nearly as well with boats and planes, although people have tried it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I suspect people will try and make anything in this game,
Oh, of course.
although it's probably not going to hold up too well. I'm honestly, this building system looks really cool just from the vehicle that they've made.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what we'll be able to make.
yeah, there's a backpack which looks like you'll be able to have probably a first-person character with an inventory. there's a spare tire in that Jeep, so maybe we'll be able to.
Tire change, yeah.
Maybe these vehicles will be designed to be more long life than Stormworks, where you can just kind of respawn a car. This could be encouraging players to keep their built cars longer and repair them and modify them in world. I do sincerely hope, Deltars, I hope you're listening, that there is a CAD style workbench editor instead of in world building like Scrap Mechanic or Space Engineers. Let's take a look at some community comments from this latest Steam post announcing their announcement. Good job! Instead of fixing your game that people actually play, make a new game instead of running away from make a new game and run away from your problems.
I feel like the community is always going to hate on Geometa for Stormworks, no matter what they do, and I don't think there's anything that can change that, unfortunately.
Username Taken brings up something that I do want to talk about. Better for small vehicles and worse for huge ones. Bro, why would you say that? It makes the new game look as unoptimized as Stormworks. I wouldn't say it looks as unoptimized. Generally, when you do something as large as like a game engine, for example, it's not going to be fantastic on the first try. Props to the Stormworks developers for making it work for the last 13 years. And when you do anything a second time, it's going to be better. If you make a sawhorse or if you make a train in Stormworks, your second attempt is always better, and that includes development things. Your second attempt at a game engine is going to be better. I hope that this game is more optimized. They've probably learned a lot from Stormworks, and I trust that they're going to take those lessons and that they're going to implement them in a way that the game maybe not runs better, but utilizes resources better.
Yeah, and it's especially given that they're saying that they're focusing on a specific range of vehicles, that will help a lot because they can optimize not only the like physics and stuff, they can also optimize the building system. So they can make workbenches that are reasonably sized if they have workbenches for the vehicles that you'll be able to make, and then they can make all the components focused around the one type or two types of vehicles that will be made.
Right. Echoless counterpoints the unoptimized kid, saying that it shows that this new game actually has a focus and a design goal. I also want to point out, so did Stormworks in the beginning. It was intended to be a small boat and small helicopter Coast Guard rescue game, and they kept adding things.
That didn't stick around for long. I think they intend to focus on the niche more in this game, especially like probably the survival mode will be like a big core of the game. I suspect that's probably one of the biggest improvements that they're going to make is the actual survival or career or whatever mode that you're going to be playing in.
Will Terrasar finally return to YouTube? Commander Flint says 5 years of bugs and performance issues. Stormworks code must be fried. At what point do bugs become features like Java Edition's quasi-connectivity?
We actually were discussing this in SRC the other day, where is XML editing a bug, an exploit, or a feature? And we couldn't really come to a solid conclusion, but I argued that it was more of a feature at this point, similar to Java Edition's quasi-connectivity or bud powering.
It's become a huge part of the game at this point, where even Deltars himself is kind of like, it's whatever now. Players use it. The Stormworks developers, they sound pretty confident in this. They have for a while. Every time that the new game's been brought up in like past Q&As, Deltars has sounded very excited. I'll see if I can put some clips in.
Next question, are there any updates for the next game so far? So I've already answered this. I am so excited about this next game.
I think Deltars has gotten bored of Stormworks after, again, 13 years of it. And he's excited to probably finally release a new game.
Yeah, and I can't blame him, honestly. That's just starting new from scratch, since like Carrier Command 2 was built on the Stormworks engine. Starting a new game from scratch must be like really freeing in what you can do with it. And I think this must be really exciting for Geometa as a whole.
Even going back to worse for large vehicles, Deltars himself said in the last Q&A that he said it was geared towards smaller vehicles, and he said that some people are going to stick with Stormworks, and he said that's okay.
But I think there's a lot of cool stuff in this new game that players are going to love, but likewise, there's a lot of places where players will look at the new game and say, well, this is really cool, but actually, I'm going to go back and play Stormworks because I prefer this, or I prefer that.
This isn't a replacement. It was never supposed to be. And I think a lot of people in the Stormworks community so far are not understanding that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much they've tried to repeat that this is not Stormworks and it doesn't replace it. It's literally not Stormworks 2. And it's incredible how many people have somehow missed that fact. I'm also very curious as to how much you'll be able to use Lua in the new game, both in the logic system and the modding system, or if they have an add-on system, because they use Lua in Stormworks and I believe in Carrier Command 2 modding to great success. I'd be very curious if they changed that out for something else or omitted it entirely. I feel like there's a lot more that can be added with just modding alone. Like if they were to open up more of the engine API with modding to Lua, I feel like they could do a lot with that.
Yeah, I think that's something that people should be very curious about, and perhaps aren't right now because they haven't talked about it all too much. They've said almost nothing about this game.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I can't wait to see what they announce on Saturday.
Of which I will be there. Check this YouTube channel. We might have a post-announcement reaction after the announcement reaction. I will probably be buying this game because I've been looking forward to what Geometa has had in store for a while now, because all through this, I do like their game. I do like Stormworks. I've liked it for a long time. I like what these people have, their ideas, and maybe not their community inclusion, but I am looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to what they have to say on Saturday with a trailer, Q&A, and live gameplay.
That'll be something.
And I hope it crashes on stream just for the bit. But I think that is all we have to say. Stay tuned for Saturday. If you haven't set a reminder yourself, viewer, go to Steam, go to Stormworks, click on the announcement, and click set a reminder. You can have it remind you via email or via the mobile app, or even add to your Apple, Google, or Outlook calendars. In the meanwhile, I've been the Senti Funball.
I've been Programmer 137.
Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you around.